Good morning, everybody. I'll not bother you with the processes and the systems because they are basically, principally the same in terms of what you need as architecture, why you need to have them. But I just want a few observations given what I had yesterday. I had to change this a few times. I think we need to realize that we are importing more than we are exporting, and we are likely to continue that way. So there's huge gap, huge opportunity, and that gap needs to be filled. And it can only be filled if our animals are better managed and well-bred. You can see the prospects there, huge prospects. The consumption trend is increasing enormously. So internally, you have enough market. So as you develop systems, develop them for the domestic. You must domesticate them. Look at the other changes. If we don't manage the system well, we can easily move from there to here. There's lots of this happening due to major drought. So let's think about that. If we don't do that, we may end up in the wrong place. The other observation is that there are huge gaps. If you look at the gaps between the potential and the realized, the potential is the dark one and the realized is the yellowish one. It's huge, over 200% in different regions of Africa, in different breeds, crossbreds, indigenous, as well as exotic. So huge opportunities to increase wealth creation, but better strategies are required. From those, we can conclude that we need, in order to reduce those yield gaps, we need integration. We don't have the luxury of the resources, so we need to integrate these so that we can improve management and genetic improvement as well as animal health at the same time. I looked at the website of AU-IBA and LEDESA, and some of the things, the constraints to productivity are what are listed there. So if you look at that, then how do we tackle those constraints in order to deliver the desired thing? What we have been trying to do in Africa, in most cases, are to move this animal from 6-star to a 1-star and expect the same results. So let me just give you an example of what we did and what you can do to use technology as opportunity. Crossbreds are the major drivers of dairy in most of Africa because you want matched genotype and environment. But we don't know the composition because we don't keep records. So we did some little work where we targeted the smallholder who is not recording now. The reason why I'm going here is that I want to walk you how you can engage smallholders to begin recording for breed improvement and health improvement. The results we got, we worked with them for 2 years where we randomly chose them. We didn't go to the roadside, notorious roadside kind of thing. We chose randomly, and whoever we chose, so long as they are the animals, we tagged the animals, we genotyped them, and then followed them for 2 years. And what did we get? Huge gaps again. Look at that. The average smallholder is only realizing 5 liters per day, and the best smallholder is about 15. The commercial one is about close to 35 there. So this gap here cannot be filled simply by looking at traceability, by just looking at identification in per se. You need to engage the farmer, and they have to have value for what you are proposing. This is what we found in Uganda, similar results, but much more detailed. What we saw here is a case where gradually level means level of production. We classified the farmers. So gradually, as you improve management, you realize improved productivity. But it is not all the same. You find that the different levels of breeds give you different levels of production. In terms of reproduction, that is what we found. So what we are saying here is there's a lot of overestimation. When you look at the literature in Kenya, Uganda, average cows are producing 10 liters or 15 liters, simply because they are not recorded. What they report is the best day they can recall, because everybody wants to look good. So my observation is that most of the cows were crossbred. They demand services, but those services are not available. They demand better animals, very expensively, they are not available. The prices are too high. So you need to record and evaluate animals in their systems so that they can be available in a proven, certified way. So far, from yesterday, we found a little compliance, difficulty in fully doing that. Most of in country, there is need for a simpler way of integrating things. And the health people have just shown us what the architecture is. I will move very fast to next. If you think about it, yesterday we were told you need only a code of 12 digits. If you think about it, what is a record? It's a documentary evidence of an event. So it can be done. And please, let's start working. Because those gaps that I talked about are so huge. You cannot wait for a super system. That's what I'm trying to say here. So let us look at integrating and look at opportunities. And in terms of opportunity, let's think of if you are developing a recording system or an evaluation system, what is in it for the farmer? If there are increased profits, convened through participatory process that Buddy talked about, and agree on how those profits can begin to finance the systems that you are doing. If savings are from improved health, can we direct some of that savings to invest in these systems so that everybody gains? Who else is gaining? The animal product processor. If it is gaining, if they are gaining, let them chip in. And I'll come back to how you can do that later. So why are we recording for improvement? If we don't record performance, what we do, the environment, which is the bigger one, cheats on you because you don't know what the real genetics is all about. So you want to have an objective selection process and managing your breeding process properly. You want to monitor genetic progress. Am I moving in the right direction, slowly or too fast? You also begin to better match the genotype like what I've talked about. So the environment only enables or denies you the full realization of the genetic potential. And you can only do that if you record systems that you're talking about. And here is an example of innovative application of information information technology that is possible. Handheld devices, as was indicated earlier, are very useful. So we worked with those farmers after 2 years, and we gave them cell phones. Most of them had cell phones, so we didn't give them. We programmed those cell phones so that they can access give us this kind of information on a daily basis. And we developed a system with a depth back end, which is huge enough and robust enough to do analytics and converse with the farmer on a daily basis. And we've started smallholder farmers who are not having records anywhere now recording. We are using these same systems in animal health, in Uganda and in Tanzania and part of Kenya. So those systems are robust enough and can be used. Now, we've partnered, or we are trying to partner with a private sector to look at how these systems can be networked through an international cell phone provider. And last month, we did a survey, and we found that we asked the people where they're getting information, and the platform they're using is called an iCow. And only this is where do they access information? We put information in iCow, and the iCow cross-talks to a farmer independently. And you can see that a lot of farmers are able to do that. And some of those farmers, this is rather distorted. Some of those farmers had only two to 3 years in school. Some had 5 to 8 years. Some post-secondary school, if you know the East African system, and very few people like you and I. So they can use these systems so long as they know what is in it for them. So let's think about how to make functional institutional frameworks which are key and involve the private sector like the ICAO person there to make things move for us. So how can we do it? This is a framework that can work. What is important is here, what I've just talked about, having a national livestock recording and information platform. And this platform can be several different data systems cross-talking. Here you have the breeders, and they can use the framework and the regulations and the standards that have been talked about earlier. But think about the processors, because they need this information for different reasons. How about universities? They may need this for research. They may need this for teaching. In Africa, our university professors and students are doing very little in terms of impacting on what we need them to work on. So with this kind of platform, if you have a one robust platform, you can now engage several people. You can also engage through improved husbandry services, getting information from here and here. You can cement producers, you can private AI providers if it is dairy. They can feed back to the farmer. The farmers can use the information platform to benchmark. Farmers would like to compare themselves, and they can only compare themselves if they are recording through a more systematic platform. But the major issue here is that this system can be able to have a farmer equity fund or a fund that can sustain this. So be innovative. These private actors can easily contribute to this. And what we need, gentlemen, is not genetic improvement. What we need is productivity or realized productivity improvement. That is what the farmer needs. If you can't convince the farmer that there is something in for them, they are not going to join. So in conclusion, principle, keep it simple, integrated, don't run before you walk. Yesterday we were told guidelines are just statements of their path. Within there's flexibility. Choose the size of your shoe. Don't have a smaller shoe or a larger shoe that cannot enable you to walk. Let's not be like the 7 blind men trying to describe the elephant. Everyone will only talk about what they touched. The other one is limit to few economically relevant traits. I don't want to go into the details, but we get too complex. What is important is if it is milk yield, look at reproduction, look at the minimal health, and integrate, let the health people supply you the information. If you have an integrated system, you should be able to get more information from other systems. Common sense is important, but it's not as common. But let's make it common. In low input and extensive systems, adopt community-based systems. You don't have to record everybody. Even in developed countries, they don't performance record every animal commercially. Target the top. Engage the farmers, engage the pastoralists. They'll tell you which animals are important for them. Tag that, and along you'll pull everybody. Embrace public-private partnership. It works. And the first member of that partnership is the farmer or the herder. We rarely engage them, and that is why we have expensive failures all over Africa. Build systems around strong institutions that support robust databases and ill-built analytics. Don't just get it because it's coming from Italy, it's coming from Australia. I told you there are young people who can do this in-house, but please benchmark. Make sure that this cross-talking is available. Integrity is important. Engage people, know your limit, agree on the access, procedures so that you don't disagree. Good governance is critical for success. Nobody has talked about this since yesterday. But those traceability, all those things we are talking about, if there's no good governance from the top, if people don't respect integrity, they'll fall like flies. Thank you very much.